So as the backseat general manager, one of the most important things that a general manager can do correctly is find some heavy and deep sleepers late in the 2024 NFL draft. And right now, I think there's a couple of guys. Today I have 6 for you guys in specific, but there's a lot of guys in this draft class that are severely underrated based on where they're currently being projected. Now, all of these guys are projected to go day 3 or undrafted, which for these guys, it's kind of crazy because these guys are severely talented and some of these guys aren't even getting talked about at all. So let's just jump straight into it. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more NFL draft and NFL offseason and free agency takes. And yeah, so first up here we have Tanner McLachian, the tight end out of Arizona. So Tanner McLachian, I actually found Tanner McLachian when I was watching Jordan Morgan, the Arizona first to second round projected tackle. And I was watching Morgan. I was like, okay, this guy's okay. Maybe not a first round talent. But then I would notice when I was watching the film that there was a really good tight end out there that was a really, really good blocker. And I found out that he was actually getting invited to the Senior Bowl. And that would, of course, be McLachian. Now, no other website's really talking about McLachian. They don't even have him on their draft boards for some reason. Senior Bowl's the only one who's put him on the map so far. But his film is very, very solid. He's a former FCS transfer from receiver to now tight end at U of A. And as a receiver, you see it. He's got the size and the speed to be a big threat as a tight end. He's got really strong hands to catch the football and take a hit and still hold onto the football. And then you also see him use his size to his advantage a ton at U of A. It really helped U of A's offense in the passing game, but even more than that, he's a really good run blocker. Honestly, he's one of the best run blocking tight ends I've seen in a while. And for a projected undrafted free agent, having someone who just plays really hard when he's willing to block more than any other tight end I've ever seen, honestly. And he opens holes in the running game. He pushes defenders out of the way, whether it's edge rushers or blitzers. And I just think overall, while he could be a more polished route runner, and his pass blocking isn't quite as good as his run blocking, I think, to me, that Tanner McLachian is easily one of the most underrated players in the draft. At number 2 here, we have Kamal Hadden, the cornerback out of Tennessee. He actually reminds me a lot of Xavier Howard, and I'll get to why here in a minute. And the reason why he's currently being projected around rounds 4 and 5, I think there's a couple reasons. I think one is he's just not getting noticed, obviously. But then he does have average fluidity, and he doesn't have elite speed, so maybe his potential isn't amazing, especially with him only playing 7 games this year because of injuries. But to me, his film still shows a day 2 draft pick easily. He's got some of the best man-to-man in the entire class, and he rarely gets targeted. And when he does get targeted, a lot of those passes ended up being, interceptions because he has really good ball skills, or just broken up passes because he knows how to get his hands in the way of the pass, so receivers don't have a chance to catch the ball. So he isn't a perfect prospect, but to me, he's one of the most underrated guys in the class. And 4th and 5th round, even though that's probably the highest out of all of the deep sleepers I have here, it's still criminally underrating a guy who deserves to be picked by day 2 at the latest. At number 3, I have Javon Baker out of UCF. He's a receiver who's transferred from from Alabama to UCF, and you can see why he was at Alabama. Like Tanner McLachian as a tight end, Javon Baker as a receiver isn't quite a polished route runner. He still needs improvement there. And he doesn't show a ton of separation unless it's, like a zone play. But in man-to-man, he doesn't really show the ability to create too much separation. But overall, he's a really tough player who plays hard, whether it's to win contested catches, which he's amazing at, by the way, or he just plays really hard to fight for extra yards, which is something that we see in someone like Puka Nacua this year, a rookie who just came onto the scene and he just plays really hard and he does his job very well. And then a couple other things about Javon Baker. He's like I said, he's great at one-on-one balls. He has a great catch radius, which really helps with that as well. And he's honestly got pretty good speed and acceleration along with some fluidity. So I could see him coming in and making an impact day one, even if he still needs some improvement from a route running and polish perspective. I still think he's a great receiver who's not getting any traction in this draft. At number 4, I have Javon Solomon, the edge rusher out of Troy, and he was actually the sack leader for the 2023 college football season, and you could see why. Some of the guys that you could watch who end up being sack leaders in college football really don't look that good on film, but Javon Solomon to me was pretty special. He's a projected 6th to 7th round pick, and maybe his role in the NFL, because he's not very good against the run, maybe he has a Boye Mafe type of role, or maybe he's a situational pass rusher at the minimum. But to me, that's at the minimum. I think this guy he's a great athlete. He's got good speed. He's got actually great speed to me for an edge rusher. He's got good bend, and he's very twitchy. He's a technician with his hands as well, so even when he's not using pass rush moves, he knows how to get to the backfield and create pressures, which he also shows pass rush moves, which is very impressive. And he's got a very high motor as well, which really helps him. He's impactful in every pass rush, and he has pass rush moves, so he can make an impact for a defense. Now, he is a little bit older and a little smaller, so his potential does have a limit. And like I said, he's not that great against the run, but I think for a 6th to 7th round projection, Javon Solomon could easily be one of the top edge rushers in the entire draft class because his pass rushing skills are near the top of the entire class. Coming in at number 5, we have another cornerback. This guy is Dwyane McGlothern from Arkansas. This guy is an LSU transfer, similar to Javon Baker transferring from Alabama. If you get a top school transfer, you at least have to take a look at the guy, and Dwight is absolutely worth checking out. Not only was his PFF grades phenomenal, but his film just shows that he is being criminally underrated. He's got great size with long arms to help him disrupt passes. He's got pretty dang good instincts, pretty dang good ball skills, and he has phenomenal route anticipation. And sometimes he can, use that to his disadvantage by being a gambler and kind of going all in, sometimes causing big plays. But to me, he's like a Trayvon Diggs in that sense. And Trayvon Diggs is, while he can give up some passes, he's pretty elite, or a Deron Bland too, for that matter. So Dwyane McGlothern is worth taking a look at, especially with his late 6th to 7th round projection. And last but not least, we have a linebacker by the name of Michael Barrett out of Michigan. Similar to some other guys on this list, he is older and smaller. In fact, he might be the oldest on this list. He's going to be 24 and a half as a rookie, which is like the same age as Bo Nix, which, players who are older will always look better in college. But to me, I see some things in Michael Barrett to where even though he's older, he could still produce in the NFL. Like I said, he's older and he's smaller, but you have to look at things like his zone coverage. A lot of linebackers do not have any good coverage at all. But Michael Barrett, he's a very, very fluid mover. He is really good at backpedaling to get into his zone. And when he's in a zone, he follows the QB's eyes in coverage, which is absolutely huge for a linebacker to be able to do. And then when he's not dropping back in coverage, he's a really good blitzer as well. He's got good acceleration. And when he doesn't have a wide open hole to blitz through, he actually has a really good pop at the point of attack, which helps put some pressure on the offensive lineman and kind of just cause havoc to the quarterback, honestly. And and then also against the run, he's got really good hands to shed blockers. So overall, I think he's being underrated for a 6th to 7th round draft projection. I have him as a mid to late 3rd right now, and I think he could be an instant impact day 1. So that's why these guys are 6 deep sleepers in the 2024 NFL draft class. Again, make sure to subscribe to keep up on more videos, and until next time, have a good one.